All right, so that's the microorganisms. So the next topic we'll talk about is the environmental chemicals and toxins. All right, and before I go into this, I just want to give credit to Matt Van Benskoten. He taught a class with eLotus, I think it was about 5 or 6 years ago, on multiple chemical sensitivity and autoimmune disorders. And he actually spent about half an hour on the multiple chemical sensitivities. So I took some material from that lecture and also some material from other places. But if you're interested in this area, I think his lecture is much more detailed. So I invite you to go and look up or watch this past webinar. Anyways, according to a study done by Center of Disease Control in 2004 and the Red Cross, what they did was they collected the fetal cord blood from infants around the world and analyzed it, and they found 287 industrial chemicals. Okay, and these 287 industrial chemicals included pesticides, phthalates, dioxins, flame retardants, and byproduct of Teflon and many others. All right, so these are not the natural heavy metals or things that exist in nature, but these are man-made chemicals. All right, so when I mentioned earlier that a lot of kids are born with serious allergy, they are born with rash, they are allergic to seafood, they are allergic to peanut, they are allergic to a lot of different things. Okay, that's the reason. Okay, what happened is all these chemicals are everywhere around us. So they are exposed to the father, exposed to the mother, it's in the blood, and then it's passed on to the baby. So when they are born, they may already have a lot of antibodies in their body that create hypersensitivity response. All right, so that's why a lot of adults are very hypersensitive, and a lot of kids basically are the same way. All right, and these chemicals can come to us through air, through water, through our everyday lives, and also through the food that we eat. Okay, so through the air we breathe, through the water we drink, and also through the food that we eat. All right, and obviously air pollution can come from many different sources. Can come from the car exhaust, can come from the jet fuel, can come from many different manufacturing plants. It can also come from earthquake as it releases a lot of things into the air, and also a volcano, which is happening right now in Hawaii. All right, and basically what they do is they release a lot of these toxins into the air, including carbon monoxide, nitrogen dioxide, a lot of different toxic heavy metals, and also different type of solvents and petrochemicals. And when they are in the air, obviously we breathe them into our body. Or if not, they may come down with the rain, okay, and then get into the water, get into the soil in our everyday lives. All right. I think in terms of air travel, if you think car exhaust is bad, airplane exhaust is equally as bad. All right, so for those people that travel a lot, you definitely can feel it. And the reason you can feel it is many different flows. One is as you get on the airplane, what happened is the engine may be on, but the plane is not moving yet. So what happened is a lot of exhausts are discharged by the engine, goes right into the cabin of the airplane. So you do breathe in quite a bit during the landing process, before takeoff and after landing. And then what also happened is, of course, air travel is very taxing on your body. Okay, you have jet lag, you have fatigue, and then you sit in a confined environment, and a lot of people around you may be sick. They also tend to over dry the air in the airplanes. So now you have all these factors that add up together. You have fatigue, you have jet fuel, you have closed environment, you have very dry air. One other thing with dry air is dry air will dry up your mucous membrane. So your mouth becomes dry, your nose mucous membrane become dry, and same with your trachea. So what happens is when you have a normal, healthy, thick membrane, if the bacteria comes to the outside of the membrane, it gets stuck, and then it gets discharged. But what happens is if the air is dry, or we are getting into winter, if you turn the heater on full blast, what happens is the heat will dry the membrane, it becomes thinner and thinner. And then what happens is the microorganisms can get through the thinner mucous membrane much, much easier. And that's one way you become more vulnerable to infections. All right. So anyways, from air travel and jet fuel and all these other factors, you do get sick a lot easier. All right, so if you do fly, especially if you fly long distance, make sure you do a few things to prevent yourself from getting sick. All right, drink lots of water. Okay, drink at least a whole liter of water. Okay, wear a mask if you have to. Okay, and just sleep. After you get on the airplane, if you can sleep, just sleep so your body can rest. Okay, so hopefully by the time you get there, there's a minimal amount of jet lag. You stay hydrated, you stay rested, and also hopefully the mask can block the direct inhalation if people around you are sick and they cough these pathogens into the air. All right, and this is another stat that just completely blew me away, and this is from EPA, Environmental Protection Agency. All right, chemical cleaners used every day in household make indoor air 5 times more polluted than outdoor air, and this is true even in New York and Los Angeles. All right, so we can in a way stop blaming all the factories and all the companies from polluting the air. We actually do it ourselves. We use a lot of cleaners and air fresheners and Clorox and whatever we use to clean the home. What happens is whatever you use evaporate, get into the air, okay, and that's what we breathe in. And we have complete control of our house, and we make it 5 times more polluted than the outside air. All right, so if you can at all, try to avoid using chemical cleaner as much as possible. All right, we'll go into more of this as we talk about different chemicals and toxins. All right, same with water. Okay, tap water, city water have been found to contain a lot of different chemicals and toxins. All right, so this is a study done by EWG, which is Environmental Working Group. And they found in common city water, there is approximately 145 contaminants, including agricultural pesticides, urban lawn chemicals, heavy metals, petrochemicals, and different water treatment byproducts. Okay, and also, actually, believe it or not, a lot of drugs as well, drug byproducts. All right, so a lot of people flush their drugs down the toilet, or maybe they, from the sewer or whatever, or they toss it. End up in the water as well. So you do find trace amount of different drugs that's present in city waters. All right. So if you do drink water, I think the couple of things that you should do is drink filtered water. All right. So have some type of reverse osmosis water filter for drinking water and waters you use to cook. Okay. And if you can afford it, also get a water filter for the entire house as well. That way, when you take a bath, when you take a shower, the water has gone through filtration, so you don't end up absorbing it through your skin. All right, other things around the house and around our environment. Okay, one of the more toxic things is in fact the carpet. Carpet has a lot of different solvents and chemicals used in the manufacturing process, including acetone, benzene, formaldehyde, toluene, and so on. All right, so if you have gone into a place where they have brand new carpet, I'm sure you can definitely smell it. All right, so what happened is the brand new carpet, in fact, make a lot of people very, very sick. As they roll it out, as they install it, all the chemicals that are in it start to be released. Okay, and you inhale it and it makes you sick. All right, so and then what happened is even after a while, after a few months or so, that most of the solvents are released and discharged. Then what happened at that time, you have a lot of dust that are trapped inside the carpet that is basically impossible to remove. Okay, regardless of how much you vacuum it or shampoo it and so on. Okay, and at the same time, I'm sure all of us have had incidents of water or juice or coffee or something that are spilled on the carpet. And then what happens when that happens is you have fungus and mold that may be growing inside and then release the fungal spores into the air. All right. So new carpet has a lot of problems. Older carpet also has a lot of problems. All right. So I would say, suggestion-wise, all right, try not to have new carpet or try not to be around new carpet as much as possible. All right. If you have to, then wait a while, as long as you can, to let it air out. So let's say if you are at work or at home and you decide to install new carpet, all right, try not to be in there for a while, as long as you can. Open all the windows, turn on the air ventilation, have a fan to blow the air out, the solvents out for as many days as you can. Okay, preferably until you can no longer smell it. And also, if you just install a new carpet, maybe get a shampoo right away. Okay, the process is not really to wash the carpet, but to get rid of those solvents as much as possible. All right, so shampoo it right in the very beginning. And if you can help it, then obviously I think if you remove the carpet and replace it with hard floor, I think that's better in the long run, especially for people that are super hypersensitive to a lot of different chemicals and dust. All right. Another thing to remember is cosmetics. Once again, skin is the largest organ in the human body. Okay, and we do absorb a lot of things through the skin into the blood and into the body. All right, so if you put on lotions or sunblock or cosmetics, be aware that a lot of these skin products may in fact have a lot of chemicals such as parabens, phthalates, sodium laureth, and so on and so forth. All right, and especially avoid ones that have synthetic colors, fragrance in skin products or perfumes and colognes and so on. All right, if you're interested, again, that website or that organization called Environmental Working Group, ewg.org, is actually a very good website. You can go to the website and the group has already done a lot of the work for us. Okay, in terms of looking through many of the products, what they have, which ones are considered more safe and which ones are considered more unsafe. So if you don't know what a lot of these chemicals are or cannot remember them, then simply go to that website and see what they recommend. And generally speaking, those will be the less harmful and less allergenic products. All right, and that same thing can be said with hair dye and nail polish. All right, hair dye causes 3 times higher risk of lupus. Okay, and nail polish create a lot of problems. Nail polish have a lot of chemicals when you first apply it. They also have a lot of chemicals when you remove them. Okay, so basically when you use nail polish, you are exposed to these chemicals twice. Okay, so they include phthalates, formaldehyde, toluene, acetone, and so on. All right, so once again, there are people that are perfectly fine when they are first being exposed to this, and there are people that when they just walk anywhere close to it, they end up with a huge problem. And once again, I'm one of them. Whenever I walk across nearby a nail salon, I get a huge headache. Whenever my daughter is 10 years old now, and she starts to want to do nail polish every once in a while, and I tell her, don't do it anywhere in the house if I'm around, because I get a huge headache when she puts on nail polish.